Devara Thunderbeat. Welcome to Nature of Reality Radio, and what is my first show in about, I'd say, a month and a half. I have gone through so much in the past month and a half, and before I give you the chance to come on my program and start off by telling your life story from a primary source perspective regarding who you are and what happened to you that causes you to do the stuff that you do in the present day and what you plan to do in the future, I need to just give a little apology of sorts to my listeners. Sorry, folks, I've been away, but I have gone through so much in the past month and a half. I ended up losing my job at Whole Foods because they bamboozled me out of workers' comp. They overworked me for 2 years to the point of carpal tunnel syndrome in both my arms. And I gave them a doctor's note saying I can't do any more work with bilateral hands. So looks like I'm filing workers' comp. Sorry. And the next thing I know, they call me to the office and tell me that I'm fired for whatever I get fired for. And I can see through the illusion. I know what's going on. Yes, as a result of that. Yes, I've applied for unemployment. I also have disability claim.
Let me tell you, what seems to be bad is always good. So you need the next step is always the best for you.
Yes, the horoscope seemed to suggest that something like this would happen.
Yeah, but make your bed, baby.
Okay. So, well, hey, folks, it's been really...
I'm a real person. I love you. And don't worry about a thing. You're worrying too much, you know?
Right. So, folks, any help you can give me would be great. I've lost all my Patreon subscribers because I've been off for so long. I don't blame you guys, but I hopefully will be back with a vengeance and have another show hopefully coming up in the next couple of weeks. But I'll try to get new guests on as the time comes. But this is your chance to have some glory on my first show in about a month and a half, Devara Thunderbeat. So why don't you tell us how you, please excuse me for all the times I may pronounce your name incorrectly during this program. It's not intentional, but you got the floor now. Who are you? What did you experience that causes you to do the stuff that you do? You got the floor. I won't interrupt you. Knock yourself out.
So ask me a question. Basically, I have, the question is, what was the question is, why do I do what I do?
What did you experience in your life that causes you to do the stuff that you do and want to do? What happened in your life? Yes, that makes
what happened in my life? Well, yes. It was before I came here. I volunteered for this mission on Earth to help humanity and to raise the frequencies of people to be their own individuals and their awarenesses and to be together as one.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, didn't realize I was not on mute. Okay. Yes, short, sweet, and to the point there. Lovely, lovely. I guess we'll get right into the really nitty-gritty stuff regarding what you do. 22 DNA light code activation. If it's not too much trouble, could you, the significance of the number 22, what exactly is 22 what's, what are there 22 of in regards to DNA that start off with that?
Well, it activates the 22 DNA activation. The sessions I do is to fully remember who you are, why you're here, and all the plethora of your creativity and who you are, like I said. So the 22 helps you remember who you are. And beyond that, too, it's more. There's a whole list of things that my 22 DNA golden light code activations do, and I received that from Metatron. Came to me. I don't know if anybody of your group or whatever understand who Metatron is. Metatron is the archangel. It was in the Keys of Enoch that they took out of the Bible because they didn't want anybody to know this advanced information. So basically, 1994, 95, he came to me And he says, your number is 202-2030. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I was reading the Keys of Enoch, and I looked it up in the Keys of Enoch, and 202-2030 is about the 22 DNA, RNA, golden light codes. So I got trained, initiated, and now this is Metatron said this is the work that I chose to do, and I was, some people say chosen, but I chose to do it. Everybody chooses what they want to do. You're never chosen, by the way. You choose. It's free will. So that is to clear up all these things like, oh, I'm chosen. No. No, you choose to do this work. And he just reminded me this is the work I'm supposed to be doing, to help people awaken who they are, why they're here, and to raise the frequency into the new world.
Mhm. Yes, thank you. But what exactly is the significance of the number 22? There's 22 what?
Golden light codes is the genetic information that we've had, that we have been induced into knowledge.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So you have a lot of ability to heal and awaken through the power of sound. And that's why you earn the name Thunderbeat by your Native American elders, as it says in your bio here, which I will copy and paste and put on the video description when this gets uploaded. So how long did you know that you had this power of sound, and how did you really discover it?
That's a really good question. I was always fascinated. I'm a musician all my life, since I was 15. I actually played in rock bands for 20 years, full drum set, mostly with all males, and in New York City. And then after about 20 years, I thought I was going to be doing this the rest of my life, but then I got into fascination of how each key affects a person. Like they're like, a key from a song, this is C, D, E, A. And I was so started doing my own research. And then all of a sudden I got into this sound healing thing, which was before people even talked about sound healing. And I was overnight in the Great Pyramid of Egypt. And I have a book called My Encounters with ETs and Angels. And it talks about me being in the Great Pyramid of Egypt, and Archangel Gabriel came to me and he told me about color, light, sound. 7 is a sacred number. And he kept repeating that to me over and over and over again while I was in the Great Pyramid. And I said, oh, and I put the 2 and 2 together. And I said, he's talking about the chakras. 7 colors, the rainbows in your body. And each chakra is an activation of awareness. So he's telling me there's a key for each chakra. And this is before anybody knew this. This is 1997. And he's telling me there's a key for each chakra. So I came home from Egypt and started writing this CD. It's called CHAKRA JOURNEY. And he came to my home and helped me write this, telling me the sacred tones for the chakras to awaken. And I'm very honored. So
Now the chakra sacred tones. You're saying each chakra has a tone. Well, isn't each chakra correspond with one of the solfeggio tones, or
No,
is it a different tone we're
the
talking about here?
solfeggio tones are actually, to me, the solfeggio tones. They're so popular because of the one man, I forget his name, but he made them very popular. Solfeggio tones were for a opera singer to sing warm up for their voice. Solfeggio tones miss. There's so many tones that is missing from the solfeggio scale. This is just a basic scale of A, B, C, D. It actually starts with C. C, D, E, A, B, C. Back to that. So it's basic, and it should be three, tuned into what Pythagoras said, the 3, 3, 2, 3. So it's Sophigio scales. I'm gonna say, since I have an opportunity to say, so many tones are missing from that scale that don't complete you.
Thank you, thank you. Let's switch gears for just a moment here. Let's not. Let's stick with the music thing. Drumming. I see that here. I just noticed that you have a page about drumming on your site.
Episode, yeah.
Regarding, yes. So exactly what kind of drums? There's different types of drums. Which kind do you think is the best kind of drum for this, or does the type of drum you use depend on the kind of healing you want to do, or the kind of ceremony you want to do, and what kind of drumming exercises and rituals do you like to do, and how do they work? What's the science behind why a drum is such an entrancing instrument, as if
Okay,
that's a word?
well, a lot of people don't know that drumming grounds you to the earth, activates your heart, and brings you to higher realms. Drumming. So, like I said, I played full drum set for 20 years, and then I started playing tribal music with many hand drumming instruments. And then I would actually, the first or second time I went to a drum circle, they were playing the same thing over and over again. I said, "Oh, I'm going to need to write a book." So I wrote the drumming book called Rhythms Around the World, which is 39 different rhythms from around the world, Middle Eastern, tribal, Native American, Caribbean, uh, uh, African, and I really went in detail about it. I got so absorbed about how to do drum circles and how to play together. And, it's my passion because I was teaching drumming for 7 years before that, full drum set for 7 years, teaching mostly there were 80% men, there was females there. And I just wanted to express that of there's many rhythms, and each rhythm does, I don't want to say why I'm calculate, they calculate frequencies of activation to bring you into different worlds. Best way I can describe it.
Okay, and some people may be tempted to want to use some sort of a psychedelic or psychoactive substance before they do the drum ceremony, but I've actually spoken to some people in the contactee and medium and channeling field, and that I've heard from several sources that our loved ones on the other side, excuse me, as well as our guardian angels and spirit guides, excuse me, they don't really like it when we get high on that stuff, because it actually makes it harder for them to communicate with us. Now, one could ask the question, okay, does that mean that the drumming gods, if they exist, wouldn't really want us to get high before we
Nancy.
do drumming ceremonies? Because the high and the drumming, it may seem like a great combination, but it actually affects the ability of the drumming to be effective. Like the high is a little bit of a block, just like it's a block for our angels and guides and loved ones to communicate with us. So sorry about these hiccups. I think I may have gotten a little too much nicotine on my throat from this pipe I just smoked. But anyhow, I'll try to hold my breath when you're talking. But is it true that the drum ceremonies are better done sober than high?
Absolutely. Because the ceremony brings you into higher realms. You don't need any drugs. It brings you into higher realms of frequencies that in realms of awareness. You don't need any of that. Sound, music itself is a drug. How's that? And I never said that before, but people think they might need drugs to get into, to be like, okay, faster to awaken, let's say ayahuasca or something like that, which I've never done. But actually, what I've heard about ayahuasca is to get rid of your old shit, okay, and you go back to yourself, and to be awakened into the new world, which is which what I mean new world, which I mean is our real world, that out of this program that we've been set in from school and work, you got to do this, you got to do that. That's a program. TV is very easy. To me, is very, very dark, and people don't realize. I say this to some of my friends, and when I say this word, what I'm going to say right now, they go, "Oh my God!" And they're like 50, 40, 50, 30, 40, 50 years old. I said, when you watch the program, they say, your program will begin after these messages. Program. It's a program. So once they get out of the program, when you get out of the program, stop watching TV. It's all, lies, and they've been teaching us, the opposite of who we are. So we go back to who we are, and it's a higher light.
Thank you. Unfortunately, my hiccups haven't gone away, so excuse me if I hiccup a couple times while speaking to you. I'm sure they'll go away if I just keep holding my breath when you're speaking. But anyhow, there we go again. Anyhow, ancient Egypt, you were there. You were in the Great Pyramid, you said. Why don't you tell us what it felt like? Because different uses for the pyramid. The Christopher Dunn theory that it was a power plant where you drop hydrochloric acid solution down one shaft and hydrolyze zinc, down another, and it reacts in the king's chamber for something.
That.
Yeah, and there's also the
hydrochloric acid.
Yeah, hydrochloric acid solution down one shaft and hydrolyzed zinc down the other shaft. He said, and
that's what he did.
Well, he didn't do that. That's his theory. Combine them into the
no.
king's chamber and see, and it produces some sort of a power plant effect.
That was for testing.
Yeah, there was also the pyramid code theory by Carmen Bolter, who I had on my program before.
I love her. Yes.
Yes, you know all about her theory. Don't really need to talk about it then. And probably the more interesting one is George Kavaslis. He said he remembers a past life when he was bringing the pyramid structures down to the earth. He said the pyramids were from the Orion system meant to anchor the male energy on the earth. And he said you could lay in the sarcophagus. It's not a sarcophagus for dead people, but that coffin-like thing in the king's chamber.
Who said that?
George Kavaslis. He said you'd lie in that, and
not from the Orion system. They're from the Syrian system. The triangle pyramids first came three-sided pyramids came from the original on Earth, came from the Sirius A system. Okay, and then the group, which means Ra and Osiris, Isis, Thoth was involved. Thoth worked with Ra, and Thoth was from Atlantis. He's been there for thousands of 70. They say now 39,000. No, he was there 75,000 years. I know it's hard to believe, but he was during the Atlantean times. He has written the ancient scriptures. And Ra came to him and says, we need the pyramids to, first of all, to balance the earth so we will not shift, the earth won't shift dramatically on its axis, to keep it stable. Okay, that's one purpose. The many purposes are for the pyramids. The pyramids are ascension chambers, depending on the pyramids. Okay, let me describe the 3 pyramids in Egypt. People think that the Great Pyramid was first. No, it was last. The small pyramid, Osiris Pyramid, they don't even know the name of it. They call it Menataki, and that is the Osiris Pyramid. It was black, because that's a long story. The middle pyramid is white. That is a Stargate. Stargate was second. Third pyramid was built when Ra asked Thoth to help build the pyramid. And he did. And it was for the ascension to healing, ascension. And they all are for power. And power for, they utilize them in many timelines for many purposes. So,
What you say many times for many purposes. So you say they're from Sirius, but if they have many times for many purposes, could it be that George Kavaslis was right about his claim that they were based on Orion, and he said he lied in the king's chamber, and they would create energy from the 4 corners that would go out the capstone at the top. He said he remembers doing that in his past life. And also, don't even get me started with Andrew Collins. Everything Andrew Collins believes is Cygnus. He says
maybe he there's pyramids, 1,000. Okay, it's gonna blow people's minds. Thousands of pyramids around the earth. Okay, so maybe he worked, not maybe, but I'm picking up that yes, he worked on certain pyramids from Orion, and hopefully the Orion good group, because there's negative Orions, but there's negative Orions and positive Orions. So he was he's developing pyramids in a certain area, not Egypt. That's what I get.
Yeah, and Robert Bouval, I'm sure, would have a field day with your assertion that it's a Sirius system, because he's done all the work that shows that it aligns with Orion, the galaxy, aligns with the Nile River and all that, and Leo and the Sphinx and all that. And George Kavazis also said the Sphinx originally was Anubis until they actually got off the jackal head and placed it with a human head. Yeah, he said that. But anyhow,
back up, and what would you say? Anubis and
the Sphinx was originally Anubis, and the head was eventually the jackal head of the Sphinx. That was Anubis's head was at some point taken off and replaced with a human head that it is today. So
I believe that because Anubis is, I have done my research. We found 30,000 years ago. He was in, he's inscripted in rocks in the Central America. And Anubis is very, very, let's say, ancient compared to Egypt. And he's been around. And Anubis is a dog-headed figure, and Anubis, his purpose is protection. What does a dog do? When you have a dog, what do they do? When you have
I'm a cat person, not a dog person.
Okay, let me tell you. Okay, since you're not a dog person, when a person has a dog, that dog protects you. They're protectors. That's what I'm saying. So they're protectors, the creators, they're protectors, and they pretty much, write the script of what's needed. Let's put it that way. They develop things, but they don't develop them. They if you want Thoth was the one that developed, like, Teotihuacan in Mexico. He developed the Great Pyramids in Egypt. He has developed things. So, and I know that because I don't tell a lot of people this. Actually, I don't tell anybody this, but I am the bloodline of Thoth. So, and he has told me this personally, and Ra group has told me this personally. So,
has Tahote been telling you that you've been pronouncing his name incorrectly, and so has everybody else? I just had to ask him for the hell. It's not pronounced Thoth; it's actually pronounced Tahote because there is no th sound in the ancient Egyptian language. But
right,
it's just
he likes it. I just say that now, so people
okay,
know who to communicate. So,
yes. Nobody will know what Tahote is because nobody refers to him like that, But
Tahoe.
yeah.
Mhm.
But anyhow, you have
Love you,
spoken about
love
ancient
you.
Egypt. Yeah, ancient Egypt found in Sedona, and there's a whole thing about the ancient Egypt and the Grand Canyon as well that others can open up a new can of worms with. But how exactly? What's the deal with all this ancient Egyptian stuff being found in the Americas? And for that matter, on a related note, what's the stuff with the Americans being found in ancient Egypt? They found cocaine and nicotine in Egyptian mummies. So how in the world did ancient Egyptians get to the New World if those are New World Order substances? So maybe you can explain what's ancient Egypt doing in America, and what are those American substances doing in Egyptian mummies?
Well, during the Atlantean times, let me put it this way, they came before Egypt was even Chem. So they've been here for, I don't know the timeline, but we're talking 20, 30,000 years. Okay. I moved to Sedona, and I was guided by spirit, by Thoth. He guided me, and when I first moved here, and he showed me Egypt here, and I'm like, oh my God! Showed me the great sphinxes. I found 8. It is a 20-year project that I've found. It is so ancient, lost history, unknown history. I have found 14 major gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt, and they're all in the same area. Now, there's other areas of Sedona, and it's like I found Kuan Yin and Ganesh. It's like a library here. So this is so ancient that it's hidden in plain sight, but people don't see it. and it's a 20-year project. I've been guided by spirit and, to show this information. And I have a book out. It's already sold thousands of copies, and I thought it was going to just be sold in Arizona. It's been people are wanting this all over the world, and I'm just amazed. So that I'm doing a documentary now, and that is real. And when you see the pictures in the book are so freaking clear, you can't deny them.
Thank you. So, as far as the people of Egypt traveling the world and making their presence known in other places like the Americas, um, are the depictions that we see on I'm drawing a blank on the name of the temple, but it's maybe Abu's symbol, maybe of the what looks like a helicopter, a spaceship, and a plane up in the hieroglyphs. I mean, did they actually have that kind of technology that would enable them to travel the world?
Yes,
Or yes, yes.
yes,
So
absolutely. Well, it was like during Atlantis times. A lot of people don't believe or whatever. It doesn't or prove. They don't. They've been hiding the history. Who I say whoever you want to say they know about Atlantis and they've been hiding it. They didn't want us to know our ancient history. And it was before, okay, in the Atlantean times, when Atlantis fell, let me put it this way, started falling, Thoth, Tahuti, Thoth saved a lot of them and brought them to the pyramids that were already built by the Atlanteans, which is the Giza. In Giza, the Great Three Pyramids were already built. They're built by the Atlanteans because helped to stabilize the Earth. I'm saying that's one of the reasons, but they and energize and everything. So he brought a whole group there to save them from Atlantis falling when they was being destroyed. So that's where Atlantis or Egypt kind of started from. And before that, the gods, what people call gods, we're not gods. We're all just beings. The Ra group, Ra, Isis, Osiris, Nephthys, Seth, and before, and even more than that, the elemental gods were already in place and knowledge of during the Atlantean times. So they brought their gods with them into Egypt.
thank you. Question. Well,
Right.
you say that your Tahote has communicated with you. Could
All
he
the time.
perhaps, yeah, would he be able to tell you one question that's on a lot of Egyptians' mind? Do you know where the tomb of Cleopatra is? And is Mark Antony buried with her? Or is that out of your realm of being able to answer?
What's the question?
Where's the tomb of Cleopatra? And is Mark Antony buried with her?
No. Um,
No, what?
no, our and Mark Anthony is not buried with her, and she was her karma was very destroyed. She was they only tell what people know about Cleopatra, she was very little bit of her history. She was very evil, by the way. I'm sorry to tell you, she was very evil. She killed her sister because her sister was helping, and she was taking over Egypt, and she had more knowledge, and she killed her because she wanted to be in place. And then she said, "Oh, I need more power," and she, sent herself nudely to Caesar. I mean, she did very many evil things. I mean, I'm sorry, but I know the history, not of all Egypt, but, and Mark Anthony saved her, but he he I don't know. No, they're not buried together.
And you have no idea where the actual latitude and longitude of the tomb of Cleopatra, if it exists, is, or is it?
Was, as far as I know, she was sent into the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh, so okay. I also saw a documentary on the Science Channel where they claim to have found evidence that she didn't actually commit suicide, but she was actually murdered. Interesting how they can do mysteries like that over many, that happened many years ago, and claim to solve them when they can't even solve murder mysteries in the present day. I saw you shaking your head there. You're saying, well, actually, some people
She
say she
did
didn't.
kill herself, but I could let me ask. She was going to be murdered, so she left on the boat to Mediterranean, and then she was, I guess, murdered. I think you're right.
Hmm,
I never heard
okay.
that before, but now that I'm tuning in, because I can ask the Akashic records.
Hmm.
Do you know about the Akashic records?
Yes, one of my most favorite sources on this show is Andrew Barsis, the Galactic Historian, who also has the ability to access the Akashic records. It's always a rare gem to
It's
have someone, yes, who can access them. Another thing about Egypt that maybe you could clear up, probably one of the most misunderstood pharaohs, Akhenaten. George Kavasilis actually asserted that Akhenaten was the good guy, and it was the priestly caste that Akhenaten was trying to suppress that were the real bad guys in Egypt. Anything to say about that?
No, Akhenaten was older than they say he is, and he is an ET, and he came down to help and with the gods and goddesses, and he was not human, and he was just trying to come down, or not trying, but he came down to fulfill in the knowledge of the one world, one God, which is instead of many gods. But everybody in Egypt, see, but a lot of people don't know in Egypt they had their gods because of each god. They called them gods, but each being could do certain things. So they called them gods. It's like, oh, this one's going to help me manifest my food. This one's going to help me manifest my house. This one's going to help me manifest my crop, whatever. So they called them gods. So he was trying, I hate to say the word try, but he was showing that there's one God that we can all manifest as one together.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. So let's switch gears to another part of the world. You've had some things dealing with Mayan stuff, the Mayan ruins. There's on your SiriusStargate.com site. There's a Mayan landing, very tribal. One of your music things. Um, the are the gods from Mayan lore like different versions of the Egyptian gods? Or are we talking a completely different pantheon?
Interesting. What I remember is when I was there in the ancient past, I don't remember Egypt at all. It was actually the Mayans, to me, which a lot of people get the timeline wrong, is older than Egypt. Kem. Yes. Older. And they have the timelines wrong when they say, "Oh, this pyramid was built in the Mayan lands. Oh, this is 2,000 years old." No, it's more like 22,000 years old. They got the history. They know the information, but they didn't want to tell the truth. Let me put it that way. All right, it's older than what they say. Way older. Way older. Way older.
Yes, thank you. You've made the point. It's older, and so is a lot of other things that we're lied to about regarding
Lies,
the ages that they
lies,
actually
lies,
are.
lies. Our history is all, I shouldn't say all of them, but most of them are lies. I hate to say it, but like it's time for us to wake up and realize they're hiding the truth from us. And this is the question I get: why are they doing that? Because if we know our ancient history and our who we are, then we are in our power and we know who we are. And they don't want that.
Yeah, of course they don't. Going to some other places you've visited and dealt with, Mount Sinai. There is a mountain, I think it's called General Musa or something like that, and some also History Channel documentary way back in the day suggesting that General Musa is Mount Sinai. I mean, have you actually been to what you claim is Mount Sinai? Can you assert that it's Mount Sinai? And are they, well, you say you've been there, so how you're telling me the people on the History Channel that say General Musa is Mount Sinai? Well, I know whether it you know whether it is
Well,
or isn't.
first of all, they say Mount Sinai is where what Moses did his 10 Commandments. I've
Yes,
been
from
there. I
God.
climbed the mountain, and then when I got to the top of the mountain, and I was with another two other people, and instantly I said, "No, this is not the place that Moses did the 10 Commandments and where he all that." There's a well, I don't know what you call it. Um, a religious group there that claimed that this is Mount where Moses did the 10 Commandments and he received the 10 Commandments here, and they claimed it. They are a like a I don't know, I can't say if they're Catholic or whatever they are, but I met them and they don't allow women in their church. I'm like, first of all, it's like we're all one. What what is that all about? And then they said, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." This group, this religious group claimed Mount Sinai as Mount Moses. That's where he did his 10 Commandments. No, 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 no. I'm sorry, and I can tell you why. Um, Very intense. What I'm going to tell you. I had a past life in Egypt. I remember it very well. My name was Neferari, and I was the teacher of the children. My sister was Hatshepsut, She found Moses in the river. She was the one. And I know the timeline. No one knows the timeline. I know the timeline. This is 13, we're talking 1500 BC. 1500, 2000, 3000, okay, 3,500 years ago. So she found him in the river. She claimed that Moses as her son. Moses, first of all, the word Moses means son. That's all the word means. Our father was Tutmosis the first. Tutmosis means son of Thoth. Okay? That was my father, son of Thoth. And she was son of Thoth. She found Moses. She was trying to have a male baby to take the throne because she was a princess. We were both princesses, but she wanted to be a queen. So it's like, I didn't want to be queen. I started learning all kinds of high priestess stuff. So I was the teacher and I was a high priestess. So I would teach the children in the courtyard of Hatshepsut's tent. And one of the children I taught was Moses. Yes, I know, it's mind-blowing. Blew
Yes.
my mind when I found that out.
Well, so you spent a past life teaching Moses, and you all had a past life as Hatshepsut's sister. Okay, wow. You got a lot of courage to announce that, because I remember
Yeah,
George Kavaslis when he was giving his
I'm
past
supposed
lives.
to. They
He
want
was,
me to write the book, and
yeah,
I'm.
yeah, George Kavaslis. He was going through one of his past lives. He actually said, "I was also one of the pharaohs of ancient Egypt." I'm not going to say which one. It's not important. Well, okay. I wonder why he feels that telling which pharaoh he was is not important. If you're willing to tell the whole world right now that you were the
The only
sister of Queen
reason is
Hatshepsut, then
it's only the reason I'm telling the story is because no one knows the timeline of Moses and the Exodus and what really happened. And I know that the ancient Egyptian truth, which that's what they've told us, is lies. It's all lies. In the Bible is lies. I'm sorry. I am sorry to tell you. Sorry to tell you, it's lies. But the truth has to come out that you know that what happened when I training Moses, and then when he was 16 he was going to be the next pharaoh. So first of all, in ancient Egypt, or even many cultures, ancient Egypt, bloodline, pure bloodline is sacred. So my sister Hatshepsut lied to our father, said that was her son, and I trained him till he was 16, and then he found out, Tutmosis first found out he was not pure bloodline, and he freaked out, and that's when Moses ran into the desert.
well, thank you for clarifying what actually happened.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
so
makes sense.
yeah, yes.
And he ran
Uh,
in the desert for almost 40 years. Yeah.
So at this point in the interview, I'm going to make the rest of this pay-per-view. All the people want to listen to the last maybe 10, 15 minutes of this interview, please log into my Patreon account. I've lost all my subscribers over the past month and a half not doing any shows. So folks, please, I could use some subscriptions. It wouldn't hurt. All right. But anyhow,